Good morning. I have always liked the idea of bookends. I don't know if I like it, but I feel like there's a symbolism to it. And I'm thinking this morning about 5 years ago when I woke up on the morning of my wedding. I was excited. I wasn't nervous. I couldn't sleep, but I was excited. I was excited to get married. I was excited to marry the love of my life. And I'll never forget that morning. And I woke up this morning, the day I'm going to get divorced, and I probably won't forget this morning either. I woke up at 5, just awake. It was overcast outside, and there's just a sense of foreboding. It's a day that holds something I don't want to do. I'm at a place I don't want to be. I'm going to sign forms I don't want to sign, to move forward in a direction I don't want to go. And I know the strength right now would come from embracing this and being glad. She's done so many terrible things. I should be glad to move on. And I'm sure that in time I will look back and think it was for the best. But I don't feel that way right now. I just feel broken and battered. So I'm gonna start the day by letting one of my seniors finish his project, and then he leaves for good. So I'll start the day with a goodbye, and then in the middle of the day I'll have a more pronounced technical goodbye. But it won't be a goodbye because it's just the start of the goodbye. So I'll spend more time with my wife than I have since February for the purpose of not spending any more time with her. That's ironic. And that will be painful, and I am concerned about my well-being after that. I'm trying to brace myself as much as I can. I've made a list of all the things I can think of she's done that will make me mad, so that I'm confident that this is the best thing, but my heart is still broken. 3.5 months from breakup to divorce. And I'm sure for other people it's even faster, but it wasn't a slow going apart. It was just a blindside, and now we're getting divorced. So she can move on. So she can buy a new house. So she can move out of this town and start a life with him. It's crazy. And I think what makes this harder is that it's one-sided. I'm still trying to make sense of it. And the person I've been married to, my best friend, is just trying to move on with her life. In the phone call the other day, she said that. I just want to move on with my life. I just want to move forward with my life. Move on, move on. And the imbalance of that is also difficult because we were so compatible. We were so on the same page with each other. That's why we worked so well. And this is evidence there's nothing the same about us. She went from on in love with me to off wanting to move on with her life and doesn't appear to suffer or to struggle or to miss me or to miss our life because she has a new life. She went from one life to another life. She just switched. That doesn't feel normal. Yesterday she suggested that she would like to come by and take the dog for a walk around noon today, 2 hours before we're going to get divorced. So I'm bracing myself for what will emotionally be one of the worst, emotionally, but it's like technical emotionally. The thing I've held most sacred, most precious in my life, I am willfully signing away today. Emotionally, I've been through harder things, I think, than today. Last summer was intensely difficult. I've been through hard things, but I think the volition that goes into today. I'm going to a place to talk about ending this thing, and I don't want to, but I'm bracing for that, and I'm trying to be prepared. And she thought it might be nice to take the dog for a walk before she goes and ends her marriage. It's just, we're so not the same here, and I just want an explanation. Was I foolish? Was the relationship not as good as I thought it was? Or does she have a unique ability to just shut it off and move on? Is her new life with him so much better than her old life and marriage with me that the whole thing is just devalued? She doesn't need to respect our legacy because the new thing is so great. So the past is just behind her. No looking back. And maybe she doesn't tend to look back. She doesn't. She will leave San Diego and not look back. I doubt she'll stalk me on Instagram or, she's just moving forward. And that sucks. That hurts. That apathy, not being wondered about, not being cared about. That's the not being cared about. God, that's the painful part. Today's going to be a challenge. An insult to injury. We'll meet at 2 o'clock at the Mediator, right by where we got married. And by the time we're done, which will be around 4, the traffic out of La Jolla is going to be awful. So I won't even be able to quickly escape the nightmare that was going to mediation. I will have to sit in traffic and slowly grind my way out. And given what my odds have been like lately, I'll probably be stuck behind her in traffic on the way out of La Jolla, just to salt the wound. I'm being negative. I shouldn't be negative. It's not a balanced day. This is not two people looking to amicably go end their marriage. It's a person excited to move on with her life, going to meet with somebody who has been broken by her. That's today. Time just keeps ticking. It is 10 after 12. In an hour and 50 minutes, I'll be there. It's been a really rough morning. I said goodbye to one of my seniors, and that was hard because I like my seniors. I had 2 more long phone calls with people of differing opinions. I really do kind of want to not do mediation and just let attorneys handle it. I think today is going to be hard. I don't know if it's a mistake, and one person thinks it's definitely a mistake. And then other people think I should just go and I should accommodate her and let her see the dog. And then when they found out that I'm going to be in the same room with her, they didn't think I was going to be in the same room. They thought I had cleared that with the mediator, that we wouldn't be in the same room. And I told them the story. I told them that the mediator said the first session, let's try together because it's nuts and bolts. And if it doesn't work going forward, we can separate. And they got frustrated with me and basically said, do whatever you want. And it really felt like the bottom dropped out. It was hard. And then my mediator my therapist was so nice to return my call and talk me through some stuff. It does center me. It centers me so much. I'm grateful for her. So yeah, I need to go home and take a shower and shave my face and look good and choose clothes to wear and all of that. I think part of the problem is this. I haven't lost the urge to want to share things with her. Despite the cruelty and despite everything else, I still want to be in contact. I see things that I know she would like, and I want to tell her about them, and I can't. So she doesn't know, it doesn't affect her, but my impulse is to want to tell her, and then I have to tell myself no. So then I feel bad for exercising the self-restraint in not telling her things. I'm kind of abusing myself. I want to tell her something, but I don't let myself tell her. So I have the positive impulse to, and then the restraint not to, and then I just feel bad because I can't, and she's none the wiser, and she doesn't care. That's really self-destructive. So how do you make that go away? I like to share. I like to make people laugh. I like to be connected. So the person you were most connected with in the entirety of your life, you have to willfully, repeatedly not connect with. And when your sense of humor is so similar to somebody's, it's even harder because there's so much that could be delightful. And I just have to sit on it. And it's not as delightful when I experience it alone as opposed to if I could share it. There's so much nuance to this process, the reality of separating from your best friend. And it will be that way for a long time. I think maybe the intensity of pain I felt will enable me to more rapidly move on to something else. So maybe I'm just so in it because I have nothing else to do. I don't know. I'm just trying to be as candid with you as I can every day. It has occurred to me that she could be here at the house. She could be parked here. It is just before 12:30, so hopefully if she was here, she's not here, but who knows? We are rounding the corner, and we will know right now. Yep, she's parked here. God damn it. Of course she is. I'm leaving for mediation to get divorced, and 5 minutes before I leave, she texts me to see if she can come up and see the dog, to come up and visit the dog. And when I say it's not a good time, she sends me question marks and asks why. What am I missing? I'm gonna go. White car is here. So we're gonna drive from our house up to get divorced together. Or 2 cars from the same place. I'm gonna go. Okay, so as I'm backing out of the parking spot to leave, driving out of the building, she comes walking out the door and stares this death stare at me. So I stop the car and I roll down the passenger window and I say, "What's up?" And she said, "Are you going up there?" And I said, "Yes, of course, we committed to this." And she said, "I don't know, of course." And just kind of looked at me. It's bonkers. Like, we had hours of phone calls, or an hour of phone calls and texts on Friday and committed to this thing. And now she doesn't know if I'm going to do it or not. Like, it's crazy. Then she walked past the car and I rolled up the window and drove out. And then as I'm driving down A Street, she pulls up next to me. She had to go get gas, and I'm driving up to La Jolla to do this. I don't understand. I'm getting ready to go to mediation, getting my paperwork together, and she texts, "Can I come up and see the dog?" Like a social call before you're getting divorced. Like, does she not understand that this is hard for me? Like, because apparently it's not hard for her, it's not hard for me. I'm every step of this process has been baffling. The utter lack of any empathy is so confusing, because the woman I married knows me and knows how to push my buttons and knows how to be kind, and I don't know who I'm dealing with, because that's a different person who doesn't trust me. And so yesterday or 2 days ago, when she asked what day she could come see the dog, and ultimately I said, Wednesday absolutely won't work. I will try to make Thursday work. And here it is Wednesday, and she's trying to come up and see the dog. Right. Push her agenda. It's always her agenda and what works for her. The whole situation is crazy. And it's so crazy, it makes me feel crazy. Like, am I missing something here? It's like she's so crazy, but dominant, that she projects the crazy and makes other people crazy. So I'm driving to La Jolla, and she's 5 or 6 minutes behind me. And I know because we both left from the same place. On the day you go to start mediation, why wouldn't you park at work? Why would you park at your old house? Why would you ask to come up and see your dog? Why any of this on the day you're going to mediate? To my mind, this seems way harder for me than it does for her, because she's just making social calls. Or trying to manipulate me. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I'm gonna go. I'm just ranting. But I'm glad you're around when I rant. Alright, I'll see you later. Despite my best efforts to delay, to use the restroom and walk around the building and go down the stairs after mediation, I ended up leaving the parking garage right behind my wife. Well, I mean, she's less my wife now, I guess, because we just filled out forms and spent $435 each to tell the court we don't want to be married anymore. So that was kind of strange. It was strange to see her fill out the forms. The mediator filled out the actual petition form. My wife is petitioner, I'm respondent. And the mediator filled out the forms. And it was interesting. When all was said and done, she passed it to my wife, and she very quickly scribbled her name. It was almost without thought. It was just like scribble. And I still took time to kind of sign my form carefully. Oh, let's see. Will she go north from here because she lives north? Yep, she will. Bye. Well, the full moon has risen. It's been 4 months since she was gone, and I took full moon pictures. I was really excited to show her. I guess the full moon truly is the marker of the end of our relationship. The day we filed for divorce was the full moon. I wonder how long it will be before the full moon doesn't remind me of the end of my relationship. It's kind of sad, because I love the full moon. I love the moonrise. I love to shoot it. It's a sad marker of significant events. Well, hey, I haven't said much today. I've said a little, but it's been a pretty rough day. It started surreal, comparing waking up on the morning of my divorce to waking up on the morning of my wedding. Better to wake up on the morning of my wedding. But I won't forget either. I talked to this morning, and she made a really, really strong case for hiring an attorney and letting them do the fighting for me. So much so that I thought maybe that is the way I should go, because seeing isn't good for me. It's never good for me. Texting with her is bad. Talking to her on the phone is bad. So I really thought about backing out. I emailed and called my attorney. I called my therapist. I talked to as many people as I could about it, because there's no right answer. I've never been through this before. I don't know what the outcomes are going to... I don't know. My therapist is amazing and called and talked to me, and I talked to... And he got frustrated with me and ultimately said, do whatever you want. The part that hurt was when he said, take advice for all I care. And it was the for all I care that really hurt, because it felt like I give up, whatever, do whatever you want. For all I care, I don't care. And I called him on it, and I said, please don't talk to me like that. I'm doing the best I can here. I'm being honest. And it was, I think, when an emotional person meets a logical person and they just don't see each other, but hierarchically he is above me, I think that was frustrating for him. Mediation itself was weird. I got there first, and I was sitting, and then she got there and she sat down. There was my chair, a table, and then where she sat, and there was a big plant in between, so it was this sort of like between two ferns thing. And she didn't say hi to me. She didn't talk to me. We're like two people who are in a big fight. She just sat there, and I was on my phone, and she sat there. And it was a surreal moment because I haven't done anything. You know, I don't deserve that treatment. She is divorcing me. And she's frustrated because of the timeline and freaked out because of I might cancel health insurance. But I'm not a bad person. And it plays with your head. I'm me. I'm her husband. I'm the person she loved for years. You know, I'm the person she said she was in love with 20 days after our first kiss. She's loved me for a long time. And today she wouldn't even talk to me when sitting next to me. And you know, maybe it's defense mechanism, maybe it's what she needs to do to be okay, but that hurt a little. So I finally leaned around the plant in an attempt to break the ice about tomorrow with me leaving the dog at Mama's house. You know, I just said, will I be around tomorrow for a Winnie drop-off? And she said, I think so. And that was it. So we went into mediation, and I sat at the head of the table. She sat 2 chairs to my right, and the mediator was to my left. And for 2 hours and 30 minutes or so, we just worked on stuff. We filled out our divorce petitions, which she just signed with the flirt, like she just signed it like it was nothing. And I paused a little bit because it was the moment at which I was signing something saying, I'm done with this marriage. When we got to the part about spousal support on that thing, she said she didn't think there was any need for spousal support. And when I said I would be pursuing spousal support, she got a really sour look on her face. Like she kind of sneered. And it was, yeah. At one point when the mediator was out of the room, she told me that I'm bleeding her dry by living at the condo and not paying any of the rent. And then she told me that she thinks my view of her financial situation is much different than what it is. But what I do know is she was shopping for a $100,000 horse in February, and she's got $1,000 in her Fidelity account. So my view of her finances is that she has money in the bank. I don't know how she might have it earmarked or planned for, but there's money. She clarified that if she were to buy real property, how would that affect the divorce proceedings? And the mediator brought up a thing about I would have to sign a quitclaim, which I already knew. And I think she did too. I asked her how if she didn't have any money, she was going to be able to buy property. And she got very short with me and told me that she just wants to be able to put her name on the deed. And my question that I didn't ask is, so if he's footing all the money for the property, why would she put her name on the deed? Why would he let her? Hey, you're not contributing to this, but I'll let you put your name on the deed. Why? It's weird. There's something weird. And I may never know, but it's strange. She disclosed that the house might be sold by the end of the month, which is weird because on Redfin it looks like it was only listed 4 days ago. So in 4 days, has there been an offer that's been accepted? And I don't know. It's all just strange. She's having the plates and screws taken out of her leg, so that'll be a two-week recovery. And what was strange, when she said that, I asked her if Dr. Sansone was doing it, who did her initial surgery, and she said no, in an angry tone, which is just weird because I was there through the first surgery. You know, I sat in the waiting room while she was operated on. I stressed about it, and I was afraid and concerned that my wife was under anesthesia and having surgery and might not be okay. So me asking today if the same surgeon was doing her surgery didn't warrant such a terrible response. I am going to try to let her see the dog. She did confirm that Winnie is mine. I'm shocked that she's done that. I mean, who gives up a dog? It was her dog. She loved that dog, so she said. So Winnie is my dog. Just made these assumptions about me that aren't true. You know, the fear that I'm going to take her health insurance away, the fear that we're going to bicker about certain things in the house. She has these assumptions about me that aren't true or aren't congruent with what she knows about me. It's bizarre. She knows who I am. She's loved me for years. But it's like since she has changed and turned off, she thinks I've changed and turned off. Like, she can't conceive of the fact that I am the same. That, like, she knows this person. So weird. But I think ultimately it was good. I think it was good to sit there and look at her and see her face and, like, stare at the face that I've loved for years and think, it doesn't look the same. It looks hard and cold. And you know, I would keep my gaze on her a while today, just thinking maybe she would look at me and there'd be some recognition of the life we had together. And she'd never meet my gaze. And the few times she did look at me when I looked at her, there was no recognition. You wouldn't think, if I didn't know any better, the person who looked back at me today never loved me, never liked me, has no interest in me. She's just different. She's just off. Oh, it's weird. It's so weird. It doesn't make any sense. It's beyond rational. It's in the realm of crazy. It's really crazy. So yeah, in the next few weeks I have to do the financial disclosures. I need to talk to the realtor about selling the condo. I guess once that begins, I need to start finding a place that I can live. And that'll be a challenge. I mean, it won't be there's tons of places to live around here, but finding a place that I can afford that feels like I'll be okay there. So I was walking down Kettner with Anna tonight, and I was looking up at AV8 being like, oh, I wish I could live there. And I looked up at the place I wanted to rent, 508, that unit. And there was somebody standing in the window there. It's like, oh, there was the person up there living in the... It's weird when you live at home and certain sounds come that would be easier to attribute to somebody else. I saw the person living in the place that I wish I could be living in. And he actually, like, we were staring up there, so he waved at us from the window. And I thought, oh, this is awkward. My apartment's clearly been rented. The apartment that I couldn't afford. I don't know what else to say about Mediation. It was okay. You know, looking at her, she doesn't seem well. She seems, I'm not going to say crazy, but a little crazed. Like, she's not right. Or maybe she's not right. She doesn't make sense when compared to the person that I knew and loved and was married to. She's someone else. I don't think she's as good a version of her as she was with me, but she's definitely not coming back. She doesn't like this person, which is messed up in its own right because I haven't done anything. I'm a good person, but she doesn't like me. That's weird. I did some little monologue today because the mediator brought up something about emotional pain, and I just talked about how it's always harder to be the one left behind. She has moved on. She's buying property, you know, she's changing her life, and I'm left behind. So it is harder for me. Meeting today was harder. When left the meeting, she drove north to be with her boyfriend. And it was weird today. She referred to him as her boyfriend. That was strange. She said that she lives with her boyfriend. And on the divorce forms, you know, where you have to list your address, her address was listed as his address. And that's weird. I guess it shouldn't be. I'm getting mired down in technicalities, but that's where she lives. That's her life now. And apparently they're going to sell it within a month. And the way the story seems like it's going is they're going to sell it within a month and then rent a place for a little while and then move in the autumn. I think I'm going to go to bed. I think I'm going to read some of that book and go to sleep. It's 10:30. I'm supposed to run with at 6:30. I hope tomorrow goes okay. Run with me, take a break, go to therapy, go to the barn, have dinner with me. That's what I've stacked up for tomorrow. I have a sort of a big expanse of time this weekend, so I need to book that solid with things. I do. Okay, I've been doing this for 17 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. I think I covered the important things. And if not, I'll talk to you more tomorrow. Have a super night. Thanks for watching.